Alas, poor Nosferatu. I knew him so well, you know. Hey folks, remember this? Yes, from Ghoulish Productions, a rather splendid Nosferatu mask. Fantastic stuff. When I showed you this and did a big video review of this mask, I did show you something else as well. Oh yes, I didn't just stop there. I showed you this guy. Here's the figure of Nosferatu. And this was from a range called Silent Screamers, from a company, well, they were produced by Art Asylum, and I think the company that actually made them was Aztec Toys. I could be wrong. And there was a few. There was a sister figure to this. Sorry, a husky dog has just rampaged past behind you guys, so watch out. If you feel a little fairy flutter beside you, it's just the husky. And I showed you these guys. Anyway, and I thought I'd revisit this because, you know, I've been doing a lot of searching around the mansion and finding little knickknacks and merchandise and trying to find the heads for certain things or maybe the arm from certain things. Well, I found the rest of this particular piece, and quite exciting it is too, because not only do you have this figure, you have this incredible rat encrusted diorama. Look at this. Look at those guys. It's teeming with rats, with pestilence, because Nosferatu, which of course was F W Murnau's 1922 unofficial version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. They renamed a couple of the people, they renamed some locations, but the story was the same, of course. And Mrs. Stoker certainly took umbrage with this and pursued the whole thing and tried to get every print of the movie destroyed. And thankfully, you know, in our case, thankfully, in her case, I understand why, because, you know, copyright reasons, and what credit were they getting for it? So I understand that. Almost religious fervour and zeal at getting these things destroyed, but it's to our, you know, endless, you know, luck and, you know, credit that these prints did survive, because the film is now hailed as an absolute masterpiece of horror, one of the first and one of the most classic examples of the vampire in cinematic form. A lot of the staples and the imagery has endured, not least of course Max Shreck's portrayal of Count Graf Orlok, not Dracula, but Orlok, but he is Dracula. And look at him. Now their version is very, very definitely highly stylized, perhaps even more so than Max Shreck's immortal makeup, because he is very, very, look at the eyes, they are rat-like eyes. If you've ever had a rodent as a pet, a hamster, a mouse, a gerbil, a rat, look at the eyes, that's what they're like. Little, like black beads stuck on, you know, on a fairy head, but in his case, a rather hideous countenance. And look at the hands, look at those. Now, this guy is articulated, but it's just the head can swivel, the arms have a fair bit of movement in them. The feet, well, the legs can swivel at the knee a little bit. But he is in this ridiculous sort of reverse, you know, posy stance. Like, you know, when you're challenged on the street by some urchin who thinks he's dead tough, and he's going, "You're fucking knobhead, hey, I'll fucking have you," and you turn around and you go, "Come on then, shitballs, let's see what you got." And he starts dancing backwards, "I'm fucking dead hard, me, you can't fucking take me," but he's actually retreating. And if you take a couple of strides towards him, he retreats even faster. That's the kind of pose that they strike. I mean, he's meant to be dead sinister, and he is. But it's kind of like, I just don't get that rigid pose, because his torso is completely stuck in that particular posture. Almost back-breaking posture that he's got there. But it is a splendid figure, and he does stand on that. Now, there's a lot more to discuss here. This diorama here, with this wall, some exposed, it's not a word, but it should be, some exposed brickwork and some pipes, and you're thinking, well, does that look like it's part of, you know, Orlok's castle? Well, no, it isn't, you see, because the idea behind that, and that piece does come off and then affixes to this base. What that does, it actually connects to another piece for another character, which is, in this film, you don't have Renfield eating the flies, and the spiders eat the flies, and the birds and cats eat the spiders, and blah, 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 you know. And this thing, he lives on the life force, or so he thinks, of all these creatures, and he still wants to do the master's bidding because he's already fallen under the spell of Dracula or Graf Orlok. But he's called Knock in Nosferatu, not Renfield. But he's still a madman in an asylum. But this piece would sit, another diorama would fit into that, and it would be the cell. So that's where it doubles as the cell wall, you see, in the asylum for Knock Renfield. Now, I've not got that figure. Wouldn't that be great to have had that as well, to put it all together? Duh. Anyway. By the way, James Bernard's awesome score. James Bernard being the guy that composed for a lot of Hammer movies. I've discussed his work many times, of course. He did a version of a musical score for the silent movie Nosferatu, which this is. And you're hearing it right now. And splendid stuff it is too. By the way, I've just noticed I've got one of these sitting there. How convenient. It's almost like I had this planned. You looking at? We'll discuss you some other time. But yeah, so you've got this rat-infested diorama, but you also got not only, you know, the rats on that, you've got a few spares as well. Look at these. Little ratties. Look at them. And they're wonderful. And I'm saying that, if you've been paying attention to some of the previous videos, I've mentioned the renegade rodent that's in our house at the moment. The mouse that has almost taken us over. Is there just one mouse? Is there ever just one mouse? How is he going to appear right in front of you, and then when you go to get him, you can't get him, and then next thing he's in the back of the room in a split second? Is it just him, and then you go for that one, and he's there again? You know, is there ever just one mouse? Anyway, but there you go. So you've got these guys, because when he leaves his castle and he comes to the good city, you know, which I think in this version, where is it? It's a Hamburg he comes to. Can't remember now. But on the ship of death, ship of doom, like with Dracula, the Demeter, you know, he's slain everybody on board. But when the great moment when he comes out of the hold, and those great big claws and talons come out there, and rats are all around him, and he comes out with them big pointy ears and that big frock coat, and he's pretty much killed everybody on board the ship. He brings the plague. This character, the Graf Orlok character, not only the disease of vampirism, you know, the disease of the undead, he brings bubonic plague that he comes to symbolise that. So more than, like, say, the Count Dracula is associated with bats, he's associated with rats. And they're very well detailed. I love them. But the other interesting thing about this, when this was released, and I think it was 2000 that these came out, a very limited range. I think there was maybe another figure. I think you may have got the Jonathan Harker, who's called Hutter. You may have got a figure of him. When these came out, lovingly packaged, you got a film cell on a card as well with it. But not only that, there's something rather devilish about these figures, this one, because what kills Nosferatu? Sunlight. Oh, he may be good at doing his shadow play with his hand. Oh, and he, you know, the heart of his victim will go, because he's got this sort of this mesmerising power with these enormously elongated talons. But a shaft of sunlight, he's out for the count. That's it. He's done. Which I think was that moment there, in fact. Bravo, James Bernard, maestro. But this figure has the ability, apparently, now it's years since I've done this, that he will change in direct light, sunlight. His colour, that cadaverish grey, this pallid grey, turns sort of brown and mottled like he's burnt. Well, 'tis a bright sunny day. I think we should put that to the test. But I've got a feeling, way I remember this, we're talking 20 years ago, you know. Yeah, 20 years ago when I got this. And I would have been playing around with this like mad, holding it up to light bulbs and putting torches on it. And by the way, I did bring a torch just in case, the sunlight didn't work. And we'd see what would happen. But I remember, if there was an effect, it was very subtle. There wasn't a great deal to it. He did begin to change a little bit, but it wasn't a drastic scorching of undead flesh. Anyway, so you see him now. Look at his colouring now. Very grey. Those hands are magnificent, and you can see that there's a great sort of translucent effect to it as well. If you can see there on these extended claws and talons, sort of glistening blue veins. That's a wonderful sculpt, isn't it? Isn't that tremendous? Look at that. Oh, yeah. See, if you confronted him on the street and you turn around in a threatening manner, I don't think he'd be dancing backwards. He would just do some shadow boxing. Literally. Yes, he'd beat you to death with the shadows of his own fists. And then he would suck your blood. Yeah. Right, okay. So let's take him out into the bright sunshine and see what happens. You may hear some environmental ambience around drills, power tools, whizzes, lathes, hammering, ladders, metal ladders being juggled about with. Yes, I live on a building site. Right, come on, let's go out there. Oh. Let's go past the saloon, let's go past the husky dog, and let's go into the bright sunshine. Okay folks, here we are. Bright sunshine. And this guy should now have shriveled up completely and become nothing more than ash and cinders in my hands. We should be wearing sunblock 3 million if you've been listening to Sarah Connor lately. Aye, bit of genre mix up there. It's a great figure though, isn't it? I mean, you can see the structure of the bones and the ribs. I mean, the way that the frock coat hugs his body, it does look as though it's bones, doesn't it? I know, because he's pure cadaverish. Doesn't look very happy, does he? I think I said on the video about the mask. You've got the power over rats and bats and wolves. You own a big castle. You can live forever. But are you really happy? Doesn't look very happy, does he? That was a bait. You see that? See them flowers there? All that lot there? That is like it's like nectar to a bee, because it is. It's full of nectar, and we get tons and tons of bees, buzzing around that bit. Can you see any transformation taking place at all on this? I mean, his noggin seems to be going more purple. I could make a joke about his gleaming purple dome, but I won't. I'll let you guys do that. Look at his boots as well. He's got them really spindly long, sort of medieval, sandally pointed boot things. I mean, is that the shape of his foot in there? Has he got epic bunions? But that coat is so well detailed, isn't it? And his little rodenty fangs. He does look very surprised as well, doesn't he? But those hands are glorious. And his hood as well. In the film, when you first meet him, he's wearing a ridiculous hat as well, like one of them sleeping hats, sleeping caps. Shouldn't be threatening, but in actual fact, it really is. Oh, I don't know. Can you see anything? Can you see any changes there? He's meant to burn and scorch, and I ain't sure if he's doing it or not.
if you look on the face, there's a lot of detail in that face as well. You ever seen the film The Gate, which stars a young Stephen Dorff, who was the bad guy in Blade? And these two kids open up there's a hole in the back garden, and they foolishly, I think, dig it open a bit more, and they open the gates to hell, and all these little demons come out, and they all look like that. They've all got those same little rat eyes, those little bulbous, gleaming black, beady eyes. Look at them. And it's a great film, by the way, and they're presided over by this awesomely fucking huge demon lord. They're all little tiny little fuckers, but they cause a lot of gremlin style mayhem. And but the one in charge, he's big. He's one big motherfucker. One day I'll review that movie. I've got it somewhere. That is a great figure. I keep saying that because I'm killing time trying to see if he's actually going to change colour. God, he's got his foot wrapped around my wrist. You can still get these, by the way. They are still available. I think the Knock Renfield, because they call him Knock Renfield in on the actual figure itself, and you can get him. And as I say, that figure in his diorama does fit right alongside this one. Get him closer, like Icarus. Go a bit closer to the sun. I think he may have gone a bit lighter. I don't think he's gone brown or scorched at all. Oh well. But it's nice sitting in the sun though. I'll give you that. If we look over yonder here. Workshed. What film was that from? And what film does that look like it's just come out of? Anyway, folks, let's go back inside before I myself scorch and fall over the friggin' doorstep. Right. Oh, let's just get that sorted out. Well, I think that was a complete and utter waste of time. I don't know. Has he gone lighter? Look, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna put this on. Oh no, we'll use this. Oh god. It's got a strip of lights there. You know what? He did work. Has he been kept in a box in the shadows for far too long? In his tomb? In a coffin for too long? But I'm not seeing any radical change here. But I think it did do it. But I think it was a bit more subtle than what they make out. I mean, whatever technology they've employed, whatever that kind of plastic is, it obviously had the ability to change. So it wouldn't lose it, would it? It's like he's under he's on a sun lamp to try and blend in. Yes, we've got you a new location in Saint-Tropez. You might need a bit of a tan just to blend in with the locals. I remember as well that, and I did discuss this last time, that his pose, the way he... 2 feet, 2 holes in his feet. There's actually 3 holes here on the base. So, you've obviously got a bit of a variety as to how you're going to stand him up. But I'll be honest, I don't think this motherfucker is going to stand up very well at all. I don't think he ever did. Okay, make a big fat liar out of me, because there he is. Renfield. Oh, you're not Renfield, you're Knock in this. Knock, knock. Guess who? It's the master. Yeah, you can do various poses, obviously. Well, you can't. You can move the arms around a bit. But there he is, the Lord of the Rats. There you go. Folks, I thought I'd give him a bit more air time. Give him his day in the sun. Literally. But I don't think that actually changed. In the light that I can see here, that hasn't changed at all. So, I don't know. Maybe he's lost the ability.
But that's if you manage to get one in the pack and you manage to get him out, I think he'd retain that ability to do the transformation. It's a gimmick, isn't it? I know you're going to use it as a statue, but if you got some kind of like light which would work, you set him up with his companion piece of Knock Renfield, and you shine a torch on him, it'd be like, ugh. It'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? I think. Anyway, folks, that was a little meandering talk about Nosferatu and this quite outstanding figure, I would say. Let's show you him again. There he is. Yeah. Ooh. Folks, if you haven't seen the original Nosferatu, I definitely recommend it. And the thing is, even if you haven't seen it, its influence, you've seen the films, they've been influenced by it. And its visual style, its visual poetry, its hidden erotic undercurrents, because there is one, and its darkness and depravity and its artfulness have permeated cinema for, God, almost a century. 1922 that was made. And you've got Werner Herzog's remake with Klaus Kinski playing Count Graf Orlok, which is also very good, very dreamy and very strange and languid and yet threatening at the same time. But again, visual poetry. And then you've got Willem Dafoe playing Max Shreck in the awesome Shadow of the Vampire, which is about the making of the original movie, where Max Shreck, in actual fact, is a vampire playing a vampire. That's great. One day I'll cover that as well. But anyway, folks, look, I've prattled on for long enough because, as luck would have it, there's another video coming later on. So, in the meantime, and indeed the in-between time, you guys keep it easy. Take it easy. Keep it cool. Keep away from rats. And if you've got any ideas and tips for getting rid of mice, please let me know. Because I'm gone past the humane stage now. I want this fucker gone, Anyway, keep it cool. Keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. And I'm going to see you all Renfield, your flies are undone.